They tried to kick him off campus, then realized the dorms were named after him. He wasn't supposed to be there. At least, that's what they told him. Too old, too scruffy, too out of place. But no one stopped to ask him who he was. Not the students whispering behind their phones. Not the campus security radioing backup. Not the administrator who said, "Sir, this is private property." They saw a man in faded jeans and work boots, a weathered hoodie, a slow walk like someone who wasn't in a hurry to prove anything. They didn't see the legacy. They didn't see the name. The morning was cool. Fall leaves drifted across the brick walkways of Harmon University. Students rushed past, their earbuds in, their futures bright. And in the middle of it all stood him, David Langston, 61 years old, calloused hands, quiet eyes, a man who built everything and asked for nothing. He walked past Langston Hall, stopping just for a moment, reading the plaque with his own name on it. Dedicated to David E. Langston, philanthropist and alumnus, class of '88. He smiled, not for the plaque, but for the journey. He had come back for one reason, to surprise a scholarship student, the first in his family to go to college. A kid from the same street David once called home. Same struggle, same hunger. David was going to deliver the letter himself. No fanfare. No cameras, just honor. But before he even made it to the student housing quad, he was stopped. "Excuse me, sir, do you have ID?" The campus officer was young, polished, hand on his belt. David paused. "I'm visiting." "Visiting who?" He gave the name. The officer frowned. "You can't be here without clearance. Alumni need to go through proper channels." David nodded slowly. "I understand." He turned to leave, but then a second officer appeared, then a third, then someone whispered, "He's been loitering all morning." Another voice added, "He's making students uncomfortable." By the time the dean's assistant arrived, the situation was escalating. "Sir, you need to leave the premises," she said curt. David looked her dead in the eye. "I'm not trespassing." "You're not authorized to be here," she insisted. "Call the dean," he said. She smirked. The officers shifted, and in that moment, the past and present collided. Because 38 years ago, David Langston stood in the same courtyard, wearing the same hoodie, carrying the same silence. Back then, he was the kid no one thought would last a semester. He worked nights cleaning classrooms, lived in the boiler room when housing ran out. A black boy with no backup, no safety net. But every step he took, he carried purpose. He graduated top of his class, built a real estate empire, funded over 300 full-ride scholarships for students who looked like him. And when the university tried to name a science wing after a donor who'd never even set foot on campus, David donated double and asked them to name the dorms after the students who slept in them. The students no one remembered, but who made the university what it was. Langston Hall was just the beginning, but none of that mattered today. Not to the guards, not to the administrators, not to the students filming the confrontation for TikTok, because in their eyes, he was just another man who didn't look the part, didn't walk like power, didn't dress like prestige. That's the thing about judgment. It doesn't ask for credentials. It just looks, assumes, condemns. And as the guards moved closer, one radioed in, "We've got a situation at Langston Hall." Unidentified male refusing to comply. That's when she arrived. Professor Yvonne Carey, chair of African American Studies. She had seen enough. "That unidentified male," she said, stepping between them, "is David Langston." The air shifted. The guard blinked. "Who?" She pointed up at the building they stood in front of. "The man whose name is on that plaque. The man who paid for this hall." The man who built half of this campus when no one else would. Silence. David just stood there, still calm, still composed. One of the guards stammered, We didn't know. Yvonne didn't let them off the hook. Didn't ask either. The dean rushed down minutes later. Apologies spilled like water. Mr. Langston, if we had known. David raised his hand. No need. He turned to the young officers. To you. I'm just another man walking around where I don't belong. Then he looked up at the dorm. Langston Hall. Brick and steel. Pride and struggle. He pulled the letter from his pocket. Handed it to Professor Carey. Please make sure it gets to the student. Room 412. Then he turned and walked away. Didn't need applause. Didn't want the spotlight. Because men like him don't need validation. They are the foundation. That night, a video went viral. It showed a man being escorted off campus, then showed the plaque bearing his name. Students were outraged. Alumni were furious. The university issued a public apology. But David Langston, he just kept moving because he wasn't interested in vengeance. He was focused on vision. They tried to remove him like a weed, but they forgot he was the root. They thought he didn't belong on the land he built, in front of the dorm that bears his name. But real legacy doesn't fade with time. It deepens. And when the world forgets who you are, just remember who you were before they noticed. Life lesson. Never let their assumptions define your worth, because the world will often judge you by your clothes, your skin, your walk. But they'll forget what you've built. And when they try to push you out, don't raise your voice. Raise your standards. The man they tried to escort off campus, he was a campus. And next time someone tells you that you don't belong, let your name be the one carved in stone. Thank you for watching today's story. If this moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of your own worth, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your voice matters here. Until next time, stay strong, stay seen, and never stop building what they say you can't.